It means to eliminate the Department of Education. It means to reverse public service loan forgiveness. It means to defund K through 12 Title I funding. And by eliminating the Department of Education, thereby eliminating all the civil rights protections for our students. But they don't stop there. We're at the Boston Teachers Union. Project 2025 would make forming a union illegal. They want to ban our books. They want to ban Black history. They want to defund and end diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. And of course, they want to ban our bodies. They have enlisted the Supreme Court as co-conspirators in an extremist march towards a nationwide ban on abortion. A nation of forced birth. What could be more violent than that, especially as we in this moment invoke the name of Amber Nicole Thurman, when we have a Black maternal morbidity crisis where Black women are still 3 to 4 times more likely to die in childbirth or post-birth than complications. But it's not just about abortion access and healthcare and reproductive freedom, it's about birth control and contraceptives and IVF and mifepristone. They lay it out, they say jobs is just the beginning. They plan to track pregnancies. It sounds like some sort of scary movie. It is a scary movie. Now here's the thing that gives me hope. We can actually do something about it. As President Louis Jean said, you all are standing in the gap. This room, you are the firewall. You are poised to do what Massachusetts has always done. Because Project 2025 was written by Trump's friends, for a Trump White House to advance Trump's agenda, which is institutionalized Trumpism, which means harm to everyone who calls this country home. Whereby Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are about centering the humanity and the dignity of every person who calls this country home, of every worker, and of every family model. They are about the future. They are the love letter to future generations. Now, as I close, you say, well, we're all here to phone bang, Ayanna, so we've been converted. So I'm preaching to the choir. Right, Reverend Murphy? I'm preaching to the choir. But why do I preach to the choir? Because I need y'all to sing. But what I need you to sing about is not just about what we're trying to stop from happening, but what we wish to advance and manifest and make real, because we believe that another world is possible one where you can show up. A legacy of not only good health and wealth, but where joy is an entitlement. Yes. To make it so. So we need to keep working. But organized power is realized power. Let's go get free, y'all.
You know, I'm so overwhelmed and happy with our political representation. It's so inspiring. Thank you. Thank you. I also want to recognize and thank my own state rep, Sam Montano, who I think. And next up, I'm honored to introduce a champion for working families, for organized labor across the state, our Senator Ed Markey. Jessica,
Thank you for organizing this. Thank you, teachers. Thanks to all of you who are here today. Thank you, college Democrats, for being here today. Only 20% of our population, but 100% of our future. We're voting. It's guaranteed you have a future that you want to actually live in. So it's all on the ballot. Let me just go down the polling. We have polling as of this morning. National polling, Harris ahead 49-48. Harris in Pennsylvania 49-48. In Michigan, Harris 49-47. In Wisconsin, Harris 50-48. In Nevada, Harris 59-48. In North Carolina, 49-48. In North Carolina, Trump 49-48. In Georgia, Trump 40. Wait from that. In 2016, between Hillary and Trump, it was a tie. Between Biden and Trump in 2020, it was a tie. And right now, it is a tie. Who wins? The ones that do not agonize, the ones that organize. Presley, and I worship at the church of Reverend Presley. We have to get out this month. Project 2025 is a blueprint for our future. There's an old saying by Job in the Old Testament, would that my enemy had written a book. They did, they published it, and we can now see what the future looks like unless we do something about it in the final 30 days of this campaign. Because right now, and you have to believe it, Maya Angelou's, when somebody tells you who they are, and that's fine, you should believe them. This is what they are going to do for our country. And who are they going to do it for? They're not doing it for black people, brown people, immigrants, LGBTQ community, for the poor, the sick, the elderly. For them, the past is just a memory. In the future will be their hard reality. Their project 2025 is complete. So that's where we are. These people are right now having a nostalgia for a time that never existed. That somehow or other better. No, it is not better. It is better now than it has ever been. Tony Morrison from schools, but not guns from schools. And we're going to make sure that NRA stands for not relevant anymore. They don't want to protect transgender kids. They want LGBT to stand for let's go back in time.
Nous là, na côté et sénateur a parlé, député a parlé, côté nous va faire appel.
From the brain state. You have a project 2025. We've got a project 2024, and it has a name, and the name is Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren. Group of leaders. You heard from Michelle Wu. You heard from Salji Domenico is here. Rusi, thank you. And thank you for doing on Haitian hate in our country.
Yes.
And to everyone who was at Christopher Well, I saw Sam, Representative Sam, thank you so much for being here. So where we are right now is we're at the pivotal point. And it's all gonna get decided. And I know that my father driving a truck for the Hood Milk Company made it possible for me to be able to be here as a United States Senator. It seemed impossible. They made an investment in healthcare. They made an investment in education. They made an investment in breaking down discriminatory barriers so that people could think big. aspire. They could lift their gaze to the constellation of possibilities for themselves, their families, for our country. That's what you're all about today, to make that possible for everyone. So we have something very serious on the ballot. We have Elizabeth Warren, who is a walking, talking, antidepressant. Administration from Mitch McConnell, we need her on the Senate floor every single day, fighting those who take too much, making sure everyone pays their fair share of the dues to live in our society, making sure kids don't have unbelievably outrageous burdens on their student debt. That's where we are today. And so we've got a referendum. And the referendum is, can we elect an Asian American woman? Can we elect an African American woman as president of the United States? The rest of the world is looking at us. They're looking at us right now. Because we preach to us about how open and inclusive. And we have a test there of whether or not we can have a multiracial democracy that works. And it's already that. Donald Trump and his supporters are saying it cannot work. And we are saying, through Kamala and through Elizabeth, that we not only are going to make it work, we're going to make that the blueprint for the rest of the history of the United States of America that begins right here.
Last but not least, first of all, I want to say thank you so much to the Warren campaign for organizing this event. And last but not least, I'm excited to introduce our final speaker, a former teacher herself, and the person for whom, when we go vote, in addition to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, for whom we are going to cast a vote, this between now, I think maybe did early voting start this weekend and November 5th. A champion for working people, for consumers, for public education, for public higher education, for a world that is more just for all of us, Senator Elizabeth Warren.
To be a Democrat.
Yes, all of us.
I'm proud to be a Democrat, and I'm particularly proud to be a Democrat right now, because I'm not trying to get somebody elected who threw in with the white supremacists.
Right.
I'm not trying to get somebody elected who threw in with the insurrectionists. I'm not trying to get somebody elected who throws in with the union busters. I'm not trying to get someone
This is
elected
Senator Elizabeth Warren talking what now?
in this country are the billionaires and everybody else can eat dirt.
Yeah.
No, I'm a Democrat and I'm trying to get communist. So here's the deal. We are here for Kamala, partly because we know who that other guy is. And boy, nobody tells it better than my partners. My partner in the United States Senate, Ed Markey, thank you. I share the love language of policy, Ayanna. Because here's the moment that's upon us. They've told us about that other guy, and they've told it in the down, gritty details of their ride. And all I can say to the telling of that story is amen and more. But what I want to do is something different. I want to talk about what happens if we pull this off. I want to talk about what we are fighting for. Not just what we're fighting against, but what we're fighting for. So here's the deal. I
I was knock on wood when I say this. When my staff was doing said, there's no wood up on stage. So we are a very innovative group. When we get the trifecta, meaning the House, the Senate, and the White House, I want to talk about what we're going to do. And I want you all to envision this, because this is what we are fighting for. I'm almost going to get sworn in. We're all going to be out there. It's going to be cold. It's going to be fun. There's going to be a little dancing up on stage. Week 1, we're going to make Roe versus Wade law of the land all across America. Why this matters so much. More than 30% of all women now live in states that effectively ban access to abortion. I talk with these people. I talk with their doctors. I talk with them. Women who have been in the middle of a miscarriage, gone into an emergency room, been examined, doctor knows what they need, and turns around and says, I know what you're going to have, but you're not close enough to dead yet. So go out to the parking lot and hemorrhage for a few more hours, then come in and let us check you again. And if you're close enough to death that the state legislature will let me, I will give you the medical care that you need. That's what's happening today to a third of all people in this country. And if Donald Trump and J.D. Vance make it to the White House, it will be a third, it'll be 100%. We are in this fight to make it clear that people who are the patients and their doctors will make medical decisions, not somebody. Week 2, we're going to put our nickels on democracy. And that means we are going to pass the John Lewis voting rights act. Anti-gerrymandering, and my personal favorite, it's time for DC statehood. That's week number 2. We're not through. Week number 3, we're going to meet the moment. 80% of working Americans would like to join a union if they had an opportunity. 80% say, boy, would I love that. So why is it happening? Because our laws are tilted in favor of management. Because management has figured out, somebody, you hear the word union in your workforce, you pick up that phone, you get those lawyers, you get those PR folks in here, and you use every dirty trick possible to keep these folks from being able to get a union up and running. Because if people have unions, workers will have power. And if workers have power, democracy works. So, week 3, we're going to pass the January. And I want to mention a couple more things that we're going to be out there fighting for. And that is, I love what we did in that 2 years when we had the trifecta, right after Joe Biden got elected. We had a skinny majority in the House. We had 50-50 in the Senate. Mathematicians say, excuse me, that's not a majority. But it was our majority because we had the tie-breaking vote. Do keep in mind, we also had in that 50-50, it was Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin who tried running. But we got a lot done. And part of what we got done is we got a lot of infrastructure down here in Massachusetts. And I love this infrastructure. What I love about it is these are the things we invest in that just make things work. We believe in roads and bridges. You know, that's stuff we need to be able to get to work, to be able to make the whole economy work. And understand this, I cheerfully pitch in on infrastructure to have an interstate highway system, even though there are parts of it I will never drive on. I do that because it makes us all better off. Well, understand this. For mamas and daddies, childcare is infrastructure. One more that my sister Ayanna raised, and that is number one way to build wealth in America is to be able to buy a home. Yeah. Has been for generations now. Number one retirement plan in America is pay off your house and live on your Social Security. Number one intergenerational wealth transfer, helping out your grandkids, is you're lucky enough that grandma and grandpa can live in that house until they pass it on to the next generation. And yet, buying that first home is just moved so far out of reach for most young families that it's just not possible anymore. It is time for the federal government to step up, to be a real partner, and to make the investment right here in Massachusetts and all across this country. People who need housing. I mentioned those two. We got a lot that we need to do. A lot we need to do on gun safety. A lot we need to do on immigration policy. A lot of work we need to do, but here's the deal. We are the Democrats. We are the ones who are out there fighting, not for a handful at the top. We say, good for you. You made your money, that's great. But now it's time for you to pay your fair share. So the next kid has a chance to make it in. I had this fight because I couldn't ask for a better partner in the White House than Kamala Harris. I got to know Kamala 14 years ago when we were rolling out of that big financial crash. I was in Washington setting up the CFPB. Go CFPB. And Kamala was the Attorney General of California, out there fighting for working families. And I remember the very first call I was on with Kamala, a bunch of attorneys general, and it was all about figuring out the banks had really cheated. There's just no doubt about this. They weren't following the law. They had figured out a dozen different ways to cheat folks, and now they were coming for their homes. And the banks had offered to put some money on the table to make that problem go away. And the attorneys general, good people by and large, said, let's take the money. Let's take the money. State budgets are constrained, let's take the money and let's run. One person had the courage to stand up and use that word. No. I'm not doing it. And people said to her, oh, you're new, you don't understand. She said, I understand. They cheated the people I represent. And I am not going to let them get away with it. Has been in that fight for 14 years. And she's been in it right down at the bare knuckle hardest level. She's in it just today over medical debt. These guys who somebody's down on their luck, they get hit with medical debt, and then they get cheated on the medical debt on top of that. Kamala is in that fight, and she has been in every fight in between on the side of families, on the side of working people, on the side of people who have no representation in Washington. She has been in those fights. So when I talk about what we're going to do when we get the trifecta, I never say those words. Just in case. I'm not really superstitious, but just in case. When we get that trifecta, I know that I have a partner in the White House who's going to stand up for the right of every woman in this country to make her own healthcare decision.
Senator Elizabeth Warren is talking now about everything for the election coming.
She is going to help us get universal child care. She is going to help us build out our housing supply. and bring down those costs. She is going to help us be the kind of America of our best dreams. The one that says all of the opportunities, all of the chances, all of the good luck does not just go to those who've already made it. It goes to the rest of us, and that's why she's worth fighting for, and that's why we're here today at TANKOU.
Dr. Elizabeth, Senator Elizabeth Warren kita pale. Sana nous venons là côté pour parler d'élection, côté nous pour faire appel téléphone pour nous encourager les gens dans le site pour voter.
Thank you so much, Senator Warren. And one thing, I mean, just standing here listening, the thing about policy is my love language. We have some smart people representing us in Washington. I mean, we have some smart people, but we have compassionate, empathetic, caring, loving people representing us in Washington. And thank you for all that you do for us. It's so important. A few logistics now, on to the boring stuff. Following this, there's going to be a photo line over here. So you can line up when nobody, I'm an elementary teacher, don't move down that. You're going to line up over here if you'd like to have a photo taken, and then we can get started right away with phone banking. The one thing I want to remind you is we are all here for phone banking today. It is one room, so let's make sure we keep our volume limited. Any socializing, maybe out in the hall or something like that, so that folks who are on the phones can really concentrate on that. And with that, we can hit those phones and make those calls. Thank you, everybody.
Where's Avian? Avian, Mom, how are you? Oh.